What's going on, guys? Jacob Orth back here with another video of Jacob's Life in Vegas, talking to you guys today about real estate here in the Las Vegas area. This is a hot topic here. Obviously, a lot of people following my channel looking to move here one day, or they live here right now and they're looking to buy a home or even sell a home or invest in properties here in Las Vegas. At some point, they come to my channel for a lot of that information. And lately, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know the past few years, Las Vegas real estate has been doing very well around here in this area. And it has some people screaming and crying that they think there's going to be a crash soon, like right around the corner, this crash is going to come. And they think that, you know, we're going to have this crash soon, and then we're going to have a repeat of what we had, you know, a decade or so ago with the Great Recession, you know, where this whole area, both Las Vegas, Henderson, North Las Vegas, all of Southern Nevada, really all the state actually of Nevada, were suffering big time. But I'm going to give you guys 8 reasons today why I do not think that there is going to be a real estate crash here in Southern Nevada, here in the Las Vegas market in 2018. So be sure to subscribe to this channel, guys. I got a whole lot more good stuff for you in the future. Also, link down below this video if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in properties here in Las Vegas. That link, jacobslifeinvegas.com, below this video. You can click on that, fill out the form, and somebody on my team will get in touch with you to help you with your real estate needs here in Las Vegas. Now let's jump into this. Reason number 1 why I do not think that the Las Vegas area is going to have a real estate crash in 2018 is because the recession is so fresh in people's minds. That's the first thing I want to say, and that's proof of, you know, just here on the channel, I have so many people who come, I do real estate videos, and they'll talk about they think a crash is going to come or when a recession is going to hit, and they'll refer to, you know, a decade or so ago when that happened. I mean, and this is across the country, not just in Las Vegas, but people are very aware of this across the country because it just happened. Like, it feels like just yesterday that this happened to a lot of people, even, you know, younger people like myself. I remember that. You don't have to be in your 50s or 60s to remember, you know, the Great Recession, quote unquote, as it was called by people. But this part of the country, especially here out west, here in Las Vegas, you know, it was brutal. I mean, this was like more of like a depression here in this area when you're leading the country in a foreclosure rate. When I think at one point it was like 70 or 70 something percent of the properties sold here were distressed properties. I mean, it was just atrocious down here. It was just awful. It was so bad here, and that has people more aware of what's going on right now, especially if you were here in Vegas during that time. But even if you've moved here from somewhere else, I mean, you still remember, you know, how bad that recession was. So, you know, you're aware of that. People are more aware of that going in, like, okay, like, I've seen this movie before, like, this has happened before, like, I got to be cautious about this. And people just, the fact that they even remember that and they're even aware of it to begin with is one thing that makes me think that, you know, people aren't just going to be diving in like they were, you know, 10 or 12 years ago when they were jumping into this kind of situation where prices kept going up. Reason number 2 why I do not think that this area is going to have a real estate crash in 2018 plays off number 1, or people remember the recession, which that also plays into the banks and getting loans, right? Banks this time around are not just giving loans to any idiot who has a pulse. Okay, they hopefully had learned from that lesson before, because that ended up being an absolute disaster. Okay, you know, stated income, not a great idea, it turns out, right? You know, so now people want to go buy a home, they actually have to show proof of income, right? What a concept, I know. So people now, when they're going to buy homes, we have a better and more qualified borrower to get a loan for a home than we did, you know, just 10 years ago. Okay, people, when they have to put money into something, they actually have more of an investment into it, and they're not just going to walk away from something that they've had to put money into because it costs them time to get that money. So when they want to put their money into something, that's one way to tell how committed people are. So if they're going to put their money into a home, instead of just being able to state, I make this much, and really not put anything down, then people have more invested, and they're going to be much, much less likely to walk away from something like a home that they bought, and they're going to be much more cautious and do their due diligence a lot more when they're going to buy, because it's their money going into it. Okay, so it's not just going to be a bunch of people who have no money invested in a place. It goes bad, like, fine, I'm out, I'm just going to walk away. Okay, and that is bad. We've seen what happens when that takes place on a major scale, how bad that can be for an economy. The third reason I want to talk about in this area is home prices right now. The median home price that we have is still quite a distance from where it was during the peak, right? Back in June of 2006, remember the peak of the home prices here, the median home price was $315,000. I mean, that was the highest it had been around this area. That was obviously very overinflated. And, you know, we closed out the year 2017 right about 268,000 is where we finished the year 2017. And the year 2016, we finished that, I believe it was around 240 something thousand. The year 2015, we finished that around about 220,000. So I get why some people are concerned about a crash coming soon or a crash happening this year in 2018, because they see us, you know, year after year go up 10%, then go again, see these increases taking place year after year. And, you know, in their mind, they're thinking, okay, we're getting overinflated. inflated. We're coming across to another bubble right now. And, you know, they're wondering how much more the real estate market can keep going up. But we're still a distance from that. So we're, you know, 315 was the peak, about 268. So we're, what, $47,000 away from the median price that we saw in 2006. So we still have room to grow here, you know, before we even reach that price that we did before. And we have better borrowers this time than we did the first time around. Reason number 4 why I don't think the market is going to crash this year in 2018 is because home sales have recently been going up the last couple of years. So 2016, this area had sold about just over 41,000 homes. In 2017, that number was was over 46,000. So that's a number that's important to look at because, you know, say 2018 happens, at the end of 2018, you see, you know, the home sales are up. Again, obviously means the market is still going strong. We have enough buyers to keep buying homes. They have income coming in and they have good enough credit and good enough financial situation they can qualify to be purchasing these homes. Now, if you see a year where the home price or the amount of homes that were sold are not as high as the year before, they're lower, then that's obviously an indicator that something could be taking place in the market, in the local real estate market here, where people either don't have as much money as they used to, maybe some people are losing their jobs. It's an early sign that the economy might be going down, or they've had hours cut, or whatever the case may be. You know, you look at that number, total number of home sales, that's an indicator. And the fact that that number has not gone down yet makes me think that we're not going to have a crash here in 2018. Now, it is possible that number could be lower this year. The total number of homes sold in 2018 could certainly be lower than the total number of homes sold in 2017, because at the end of December 2017, we had less than 6,000 homes available, single-family homes listed that were available for sale, and that's the lowest it's been in at least the last 5 years in terms of inventory. And you know, within that 5-year range, there have been months we've had over 10,000, 11,000, over 12,000 homes listed available for sale. So we're not operating at a really high number right now. So there's a good chance that the inventory stays low like this, that we may not sell as many homes this year in 2018. And if that number is lower, that's an indicator that something might be taking place in the economy in the future where we might be going down. But right now, that hasn't happened, so I don't think we're going to have a huge crash here in 2018. The 5th reason that I do not think we're going to have a crash here in the Las Vegas area in 2018 is really continuation from reason number 4, where I talk about signs that, you know, we would have already seen a year before, like in total number of home sales. Well, something to remember is that, you know, even when an economy has a crash, especially here in the US and the developed world, is these don't happen overnight, okay? Fortunately, we're not a third world country here where, you know, we do have crashes that happen overnight. We wake up one day and all our money is just worthless, okay? We're very fortunate in that regard, because people talk about, you know, the crash of 2008, right, in this US economy. But really, things started to go bad in 2006. It takes time, right? These don't happen just, you know, like that, the snap of a finger. Remember, our peak median home price here was $315,000 in 2006. We went down from there. People talk about the crash in 2008, but really, we didn't hit our low point in median home prices here in this area until January 2012, when it was 118,000. So from June 2006 all the way to January 2012 is when we really hit the bottom of our median home price. So we went from 315,000 to about 118,000 from 2006 to 2012. So it takes years for this to happen, okay? A crash doesn't just happen tomorrow. So when you hear people, you know, screaming like the sky's falling and stuff like that, don't listen to them, okay? So we have not seen signs yet. We didn't see any signs in 2017 that the market's going to be weakening, you know, in the near future, and 2018 may show some of those signs, but right now we haven't seen any. So I think for 2018 we're going to be okay in terms of our market, and we're not going to have a crash based on those signs. Reason number 6 that I want to talk about is actually the new tax bill that has been introduced here for 2018, and this is going to get interesting to see what happens with, you know, our neighbors next door, being California, right, the state I was born and raised in before I came here to Las Vegas, Nevada. Because one of the things that happened in the new tax bill, on your personal income tax, the SALT deduction, as it's called, the state and local taxes deduction, is now capped at $10,000. Okay, and that is now capped at $10,000. It used to be unlimited. You could deduct all your state income tax, not have to pay federal income tax on it. But now that's capped at 10 grand. So the people who's going to really hurt the most are the highest income earners that they have in California. Some of your highest income earners, you know, your doctors, your attorneys, your maybe people in finance or realtors, or anybody, you know, who's really good at their job or their profession as an employee, where they're making a lot of money, they're the ones that are going to be getting taxed big time, and it hurts really bad because in California, they already have the highest state income tax in the country, up to about 13%. Now you're capped at the amount that you can actually deduct on your state income taxes, and then you're going to get double taxed on that money when you have to pay your federal income taxes. So, you know, now in California, all those high taxes aren't looking like such a great idea in California. But now it really hurts because you're going to be getting taxed on that money twice if you're a high income earner. So if you're a high income earner, you're already getting taxed like crazy in California. Now you're going to get taxed even more with this new tax bill implication on it. So suddenly, you know, is being near the beach really worth that much, right? Suddenly you might start looking to some other place like here in Nevada, here the Las Vegas area, because here in Nevada, our state income tax is 0, so it doesn't affect us at all. That's one of the awesome things about here is our 0 state income tax. So that new tax bill, as far as the deduction part, doesn't have an effect on us because we don't pay state income taxes here. So there's going to be a chunk of Californians, especially those that are high income earners, that are going to be looking to possibly move, and they're going to be looking right next door to Nevada, and they're going to be looking right here to Clark County as a place to come move because they're tired of getting taxed. They've probably been tired of getting taxed for years now. This might have just been, you know, the nail in the coffin for them, where someone say, okay, forget it, I'm out, I'm moving to somewhere else where I'm not going to get taxed to death for making a lot of money. Reason number 7 that I want to talk about is, again, continuing with the tax bill, the new tax bill that's been introduced, but this time it's actually going to be talking about the corporate side of it and the corporate income taxes and how that has changed. Because we used to have a corporate income tax that was up to like, you know, 35% or something, which was high because the global average is about 25%. Now it's coming at a flat tax of just 21%. So, which makes us much more competitive, you know, among other countries around the world. So it makes us much more competitive in the global marketplace as far as corporations and the taxes they're going to pay. But the other thing it does too is another component of it is, you know, the amount of money that U.S. companies have abroad. Now, I've seen it estimated that there's estimated that there's about $2.5 trillion with a T, $2.5 trillion that U.S. companies have abroad because that money in the past was subject to a 35% corporate tax rate. Okay, so they've just kept the money abroad because here in the US, you're going to get taxed at 35%. So, and they don't like getting taxed a lot, just like you as an individual don't like getting taxed a lot. Neither do business owners who make a lot of money and businesses. So, you know, now what has changed is, you know, to try to get that money back, the new tax bill is what they have is a one-time repatriation tax rate of 15.5% for a company to bring that money back here to the U.S. So that's to try to encourage U.S. companies to bring some of the money they have abroad back here to the U.S. So they'll pay a tax to bring it back here. So that will go into our taxes, and then they'll be able to keep the money here for a cheaper rate than they have been in the past. So instead of getting taxed at 35%, depending on what bracket they were back in 2017, now they can be just taxed at 21%, flat tax across the board, which is lower than the global average. So it's a big attempt to try to get more money back here into the U.S., back here into our local economy, which will help all across the country. A lot of those companies that do have the big money abroad, a lot of them are tech and pharmaceutical companies. So even like Apple alone, I've seen is estimated to have like $252 billion overseas and other places. Like that would be a lot of good money, and it'd be great to have that back here in America. So that's something that could also help our real estate economy here locally, is to have that much money as an influx back into our local economy. And the 8th reason why I think Las Vegas real estate will not crash in 2018 is because of California, right? And some of you might be wondering, well, what do you mean California, okay? Well, California obviously is our neighbor here, right next to Nevada. And, you know, California has such a huge state. They are by far the most populous state. And they have a very large economy where their economy, you know, by itself is stronger than most economies across other countries, compared to other countries. That's how big it is. So in California, they're so big as a state, and they command so much attention that if they do something, they change something in their laws, or they have some legislative changes there, it is going to impact other states. It's going to impact the rest of the country, but other states more in particular. And with Nevada being right next door, you can guarantee when California makes a change, it is going to have an impact on Nevada. And California made several changes this year, like it is every year, to some of their new laws and how they want to operate their state. And some of these I'll go through, you know, are going to upset people, and it's going to cause some of them to want to leave the state and look elsewhere. And they're going to be looking here to Nevada and looking here to Las Vegas. So one thing is California set history this year in 2018 by becoming a sanctuary state. So they're really limiting the amount of cooperation their local police authorities can have with federal agents when it comes to immigration. And, you know, California is already on that track anyway, so it's not a big surprise. They had so many sanctuary cities across the state. And there you could probably see videos here on YouTube of people, you know, at city councils and things arguing why they should or should not be sanctuary cities. Now they just made it statewide, where it's a sanctuary state. So now California is basically in a battle with the federal government government over immigration right now. And then another thing California did this year is they passed a new tax, right? What do you know, right? What a shocker in California. Another tax for gas and diesel fueled cars where you have to pay another fee, and there's going to be an increase on gas tax and a fee when you register your car that's expected to increase revenue by like $52 billion over the next 10 years. So you live in California over the next 10 years, you're going to make your contribution to another $52 billion in tax revenue, right? Just to add on to all the other taxes you already have in that state. So that's a lot of money to cost people. But the one thing they've done, again, in California, they've done recently, they're making a big push for this even in the future, is they've raised minimum wage again in the state of California. So minimum wage is now $11 an hour across the state, except for I think if you have a small business under 26 employees or something like that, it's still like $10.50, but you still have to comply in the future. I think they give you one more year to comply. Other places have their own minimum wage, like San Francisco. I think there's like $13 an hour, something like that. So they have their own minimum wage they like to operate by. The state's plan is to try to increase minimum wage by up to $15 an hour. I've heard 2022, I've heard 2024, by, whatever the case is, that's their goal, is to get to $15 an hour, which just kills businesses. If you're a small business owner trying to operate, that is just hurts your business, and it hurts adding overall cost to your business. California is already an incredibly hard state for businesses to operate in, one of the least business-friendly states in the country, and this is part of the reason, because just add costs to their business again and again and again. If you're a big corporation, you may not like it either, but you can afford to pay people more. You've got a lot more resources than, the mom and pop shop where there's just husband and wife working together to try to keep a roof over their head and feed their kids, or they've got a few employees. You keep adding these costs to it, and it just really, really hurts their business. But I mean, that's just how dumb they are in California. I mean, the first family that bought a home through me when they were coming here to move to Las Vegas came from California, and it was a husband and wife. They had a child, and they were looking to buy a home in Henderson. They contacted me. I put them in touch with my team, and those are the reasons they gave. They came here from Sonoma County, and they said the cost of living is getting too high, and we have a business we run, and the cost of doing business is getting too high. So they said, bye-bye California, and they left. And there's going to be more and more of those in the future that are leaving California because the cost of living is high, the taxes are high. If you're trying to run a business and operate a business, that cost is really high. So more and more people are going to be looking to leave, and they're going to be bringing their business here to Las Vegas. They're going to be looking to buy homes, and those people are going to contribute to our local economy. So that's the 8th reason I think that we will not have a crash here in the local real estate economy in the future, or in 2018, I should say. In the future, after 2018, I'm not sure, but 2018, I think we're not going to have a crash here in this area. I think real estate will still continue to do well. Two numbers I want to mention that I think are going to be important to look at, among others. There's plenty of others to look at, but two of them. One I mentioned earlier for the future is the number of home sales from year to year. So at the end of this year, 2018, to compare the number of homes we sold this year compared to last year in 2017, and that's going to be interesting to see, because if the number's lower, we might be heading downward in the economy. Doesn't necessarily mean like it's going to crash tomorrow, but it might be heading down. And if they're higher, it means we're probably more on a trajectory to keep going up. The other number, this is probably going to be a little unsettling for some of you, I looked up in my research and found this out, is the number of tourists visiting this area. And that number in 2017 was down by a few million people from what it was 2016. 2017, we had just barely over 39 million tourists come visit Las Vegas that year. The 3 years prior to that, we had hit over 40 million. Last year, or the year prior, 2016, I believe we had almost 43 million, which was a record. So we had almost 4 million less tourists from 2016 to 2017. And we hadn't had a number that low, I think, since like 2011, in the number of tourists visiting. So that's something else to keep an eye on to see, is if that number goes down again this year, that's something that's going to grab my attention as to why not as many people are coming to Vegas and wanting to spend money, because this is the #1 tourist destination in America, Las Vegas. And when people are hurting economically, the first thing they're going to cut is discretionary spending. So I've talked about that before in another video about why the market is hot right now, because the national economy is doing well. And if people continue to do well, then they have money to come and spend on vacation. If they're not doing well, one of the first things they cut is going on vacation. They'll buy necessities, but they don't want to go on vacation anymore. So that's what they'll cut. So if that continues to go down again, that's another sign. The number of tourists visiting goes down again another year in a row. That could be a sign that we might be heading down in the economy here locally and across the country as well. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. If you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in a property here in the Las Vegas area, link is down below. Get in touch or fill the form out, and somebody on my team will get in touch with you and help you out with that process. Tell me what you guys thought about this video. Tell me what your favorite reason was, or if you thought there was something I missed, please share in the comments section. That's it for this video. I'm Jacob. This is My Life in Vegas.